God, that was weird. Heard this big clunk in the corner, and one of the Venetia blinds just jumped off, and it's got those little hooks that, you can twist and they twirl. One just jumped off. I can't take these guys' stories anymore. Anyway, so setting up the Caprice. Oh, and then the other thing is, I know what I did with the other beach balls. The globe beach balls. I took them down to the recycling place in town here and got rid of them. Because, again, it was just like, God, I bought all this stuff. I'm never going to use it. And I wasted all my time. And it's like, oh, I should have held on to them. I knew I should have, but I didn't. Okay. So the setup for Caprice was, I called up Stu and Sandy, and we don't need to do all this. He raced out of CYC, or the Columbia boats here. I do a Mac intro, nice. So this was, I told Jane, I gotta race, I gotta do something, I'm going crazy here. And I was renovating, and that was turning into way more than, Mr. Beck still giving issues and putting in 65 sheets of drywall in the basement. And it was like, I need to do something else. And so I got back in. And not that Jane ever said no, but she made it sound like if I did that, her life was going to end. And, my priorities were all screwed up. So she knew how to play me hard. But at by 99, I was just like, ugh, it's done. It's just, when is it done? And so I get on Caprice, and we do well. I break my finger on one of the races. Stu ends up getting first in group. He might have even gotten first in fleet because he corrected over everyone. But we've got this ragtag team on Caprice. John Larson's at the bow. He's probably the best bowman I know. Except for John Tavidian. They're both tied. I gotta just say that. They're both really good at what they do. And Tavidian, the story there was, the guy goes, your name's familiar. I met him on Foley. And he goes, your name's familiar. And I said, well, have you ever been to Purdue? That's right. He goes, yeah. He goes, my brother was a fight out. I go, really? What's your last name? Tavidian. He goes, oh, I know, I forgot his brother's name, but it was John Tavidian. So we had our connection of. But then Tavidian started giving me a rough time, and then we got back to the fight out guys that Tavidian's dinking on me. Anyway, that's all here nor there. He's a good guy. Tavidian's funny. Just a little bit unique. Smart guy. Good bowman. Anyway, so, and then who else? Helen was on there. Helen Fogarty was a great, anyway, so we had this ragtag group. I'm fitting in pretty well. I'm fitting in. And so to get up, or the night of the, Friday night's the big Mac party down at the Chicago Yacht Club. And I invite Jane's folks to come in, and Miles is in town, and Alan had just gotten a house, because my mother had just died, and they're all in the area. So Alan's out in Inverness in a house, and I call them up and say, look, I'm back into racing, and I want you guys to come down to Gino's. Gino's is up here. Take you all out to dinner, and you guys can kind of see what I do with the racing and stuff. Well, Jane's folks come up, and he's the football coach, and I don't want to dig too much, but he's a very prominent person in Purdue culture and history and everything else, and down there he's a celeb, and everything was about Bob, and Bob, Demo this and Demo that, and his whole life is about him. And it's always about him. And he passed away last year, so I gotta be careful because I don't want to be disrespectful. But he came up here, and he was immediately uncomfortable. I get a little table on the street So I can catch everyone as they come up. Alan and Patty, Miles were supposed to show up, and we're meet out here and go down to the boats and see all the boats that come in from around the states. And you've got all these, Saucy and Brassy, Sassy Brassy, and all these, high-class boats that come in that have names of very prominent things to the sailing community. And there's 300 boats that do the MAC race. So this place is all loaded up, and everyone's parked everywhere. And it's all, sailing and racing. And it's like the Indy, well, it is the Indy 500 of yacht racing, freshwater yacht racing. So I'm all hopped up, like I'm all excited. Well, I sit down with Jane's folks, and Jane, and he's on, Demo's uncomfortable because all the attention isn't on him. And Miles shows up, and then they're just awkward, because Carolyn had just died. Miles has all these secrets of he's already, with Nancy engaged or something, but we don't know about it. But, and that's the way the guy is. He always carries around reality in his head and prevents you from knowing what that is, whether it's a porn collection or secret post office boxes or where he lives or what he does. He can tuck all that away and ha-ha on you because he knows his little secrets and you don't. Yeah. That came out. So he shows up, uncomfortable. Then we get a call. So we're waiting to order and everything. And, of course, I'm not drinking because I'm on red, sobriety alert. Rightfully so. Demo, he's... He could have had 500 DUIs and ain't going to stop that one from keep going. And not... Anyway. And so I'm uncomfortable just because not having a beer and it's MAC weekend. But whatever. It was annoying. But in all honesty, I had an issue. And we'll get, even when I thought the storm was over, the storm wasn't over. So I'm not letting myself out of this. But we're uncomfortable. And then we get the phone call. Alan and Patty spent the day at Field Museum with Sam and Max. Allegedly, because who knows. But they give us a call around 6 o'clock and say, you know what? We're stuck on Lakeshore Drive, and we're not going to make it. So we're there, wait on Alan and Patty. And I wouldn't doubt, I'm not saying it did happen, but I wouldn't doubt if they had that planned out way ahead that they're in Inverness and saying, I don't know. Just, at 6 o'clock, we're supposed to meet them. You should call and let them know we're not going to make it. And he'd make up a lie. Say, yeah, we're stuck in traffic, not going to make it. Because why wouldn't you make it? This isn't, you're not going to be jammed in there forever. You can at least meet but they knew it was kind of about me. And that set them off. So we, ordered dinner, click with a silverware, no one really talking. And then I try and talk. And I end up talking about Demo and his prime. He's not asking, no one's asking me questions about the Mac or anything. Not one. Because they probably knew once you tap into a sailor telling his war stories, you can't shut them up. But that's not their motive. They don't want the attention directed away. So I end up almost interviewing Bob. So what was like your big game? What was your, the Purdue Notre Dame game in 46 when you threw 12 yards, but it set records? No, that's mean. But, so I'm carrying the conversation with him, trying to, I'm baiting him, saying, well, yeah, enough about me. What about you and racing? Well, blah, 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 blah. And then there's that one time about 95, and then the big storm, and blah, 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 blah. Nah, that never happens. So we finish dinner, And we limp over here basically in cars, mind you. We're in cars. Then we park, and then I'm down there, and then I see Caprice and the crew, and I do the introductions. But then I want to bail out of this situation. I don't want anything to do, because they're the buzzkill of all buzzkills. You know, they're the ones that you go to graduation and you're finally like, oh, 4 years of college done. And then they're like, well, how'd you do on that last exam? You know, you got a D? So let's reflect on that. God. So I'm wanting to bail out on these people. And I make up this thing as, well, we've got boat work to do. So, you know, I'm going to have to stay down here. And Jane's like, he just wants to drink. And I'm like, uh-huh. And so, and I did. I did that night. I know I did. Because then you're in between sober around them, and then your usual, or say 50% of your usual self around sailing people. So yeah, I mean, I was doing the mental gymnastics of, oh, all these people are offering me beers and stuff, and these people are like, why are they offering him beer? I thought he said he doesn't drink. Figure it out, Dad. And that'd be Jane talking to her dad. It's just like, yeah. Anyway. So we go to the party, and it's just, you know, all right, they leave because they're glad to get out of there, and then they can also speculate, saying, you know what, he's just back there drinking and stuff, and it's going to be that story again. We know it's going to be, and it is, but not the way you think. So that's the way we left it, and I got to regroup, so hold on. Wow, there's just not a whole lot of good pictures of this area. But Stu's out of Columbia Yacht Club over here, and we'll get into all that. But that's the one that looks like an old ship. Oh, we don't need it. That's the. What a dumb picture. They show the upstairs. Anyway, so Caprice is probably down here, tied up on the dock, and you know, in fact, I slept overnight down in the boat. Oh, it's a stinky old boat. CNC 43. And the thing smelled like, you know, musty old basement because all the cushions were moldy. And so, I mean, the teak wasn't restored real well. And it's just a turd of a boat. This pale yellow. Ugh. But I was back in the racing, so that was perfect. If I got on a flashy boat, oh, my head would have been this big, just going, whoa, I'm back racing. I'm on a 3, I think they were only a 2-spreader, too. So I had to get back into, I had to dip my toes back into the ego center of being in racing again. And so you go out here, and then you go out, and then there's a parade by Navy Pier, so everyone's out here going, yay, sailors. And, you know, Godspeed, be safe. And so you go back there, and then you come back out, and then you go up to the starting area, which is up here somewhere. Well, that's the crib. I had it up here. It's kind of a waste for there's a start. And the Mackett start is, well, it's not up in Evanston. Knucklehead. Let's get you a little bit back down here. Call that the start. It's a little bit north of where we usually are. And yeah, because we have to go past the crib. But then you get out here, and then you've got all the boats. And, oh, I used to do a 360 panoramic of, you know, all the boats out here. And then you get on shore, you got all the city, and go back around. And, yeah, 300 boats plus. Tell you, it's an event. But they were probably 5 back then. Call it 5. Call it 5. It wouldn't have been much more. Maybe 6. Call it 6. Because I'd remember the flag. Because you put up what section your flag is. And I have to see what the flag is. It's irrelevant to the story. So you start there. And we'll do a quick Mac. And this is unscripted too, because I had my homework of all these points. Now I have to go by memory. So the Mac race, Chicago to Mackinac Island race is the longest. It sounds like tourists now. And the Chicago Mac race is the longest freshwater racing event in North America from Chicago to Mackinac Island. And I'm not going to remember anything else besides that. Oh, 333 miles. There's got to be something Masonic about all that, too. If it's 322, ooh, Skull and Bones sponsoring. But anyway, I digress. So obviously, Mac Island is up here. Not obviously. There are probably people in France going, ¿Cómo se llama? It's the Latin part of France. Oh, God bless edit. So anyway, there are people that probably don't know what this is. So here in America, we race on boat. And I'm speaking better than I did the other day. Okay. So you get, you bounce up here, and then you always try and cut it close. This is a terrible Mac intro vid, but you get up here, and then you get the Beaver Island and the Manitous, and then you wander up here, and you kind of squeeze in here, and then I'll get closer, but then you hear it, and then the Mac Island's up here. But every now and then, the wind's kind of weird. Well, all the time it's weird, but uniquely weird. And people start drifting up this way, and every now and then, someone sneaks around this way and does well and wins. But you do that once, don't try repeating it, because it'll never happen. Same thing here. It gets hairy in between here. We'll get closer. But then every now and then, someone goes, well, how'd you get to the island so fast? Well, we went west of all the Manitous and Beaver Island and stuff. It's like, oh, you were tricky. Do one of these. So, it's a crapshoot. Every year, Tom Skilling would be down at the observatory saying, I don't know. Well, it's a guesswork out there, and you get all the Doppler radar, and we just go, you sit on the audience going, whatever he's saying right now, just write it down, because that's exactly what isn't going to happen. So Tom Skilling is super. I called the guy up. He would do this thing every year for the Mac racers, and the guy's pulling in a mill or something, and his brother is Enron Skilling, Tom Skilling. No. His brother's Skilling. Bill Skilling? Whatever. But that Tom Skilling, WGN. And I called up the guy once because he goes, I've never been out on the boats. I'd love to. And when I was on Foley, I called him up. And they go, well, hold on. He's got a tornado report. He came back on the phone. And I yacked with Tom Skilling and said, hey, we got this Wednesday night beer can. Do you want to come out? He's like, oh, no, I'd love to, but I've got a report, and no, but, thanks for keeping me in mind, but, oh, my God, we called him up, and he gives you the time of day. He was cool. He was He was like Ken Shout. Ken Shout? He was Ken Shout cool. He was John Barnes, Ken Shout, named Ken Shout's body. Cool. Oh, Tom Skilling, you're a great guy. Your brother's guy. Where'd all that money go? But I digress. Okay, so we'll get up to here to the island. So the Mac race on Caprice started out slow. So bang, drift. And if you can see Milwaukee lights on Sunday night, you're in trouble. But we're seeing Milwaukee lights Sunday, and then Monday morning, and then, of course, at night, depending how the light and the atmosphere is, if you still see the lights, you're pretty close. Pentwater's right here, by the way. And you can kind of see the glow of Milwaukee lights. You go, something's bigger down there, but you don't know. Because this is only, what? Well, let's find out, Brian. We've got all these tools. It is, can I drag that down here? Let's get this. Let's find out. Captain Desktop. Say Pentwaters. Here, just take my word for it, people. So it's, yeah, $1.50. So it's $1.50, bird's eye. But you got, I mean, driving this way is 3 hours and change. So that's what, you know, we don't need to do this every time, because then I have to keep doing this. But we're fine. We're all good. So we're slow. You see Milwaukee, you know, you could have stopped over there and had a brat. You had a little cookout. Old joke. But we get up here, and then, you know, we're slopping around the fleet, you know, turd CNC 43. We're behind. Now we see the fleet in the horizon, and they're clocking us. And Stu's getting irate, and everyone's hating each other, and it's like, oh, God, this is bad. This is bad. And then here are the Manitous, and this should be Beaver Island. Please be Beaver Island. Yay. Get up here, and now the fleet's clocked us, and we're so far behind. And then it's Tuesday. Oh, my God. No, I'm jumping the gun. Am I jumping the gun? Yeah, it's Monday. We're getting up here Monday. Yeah. Monday we're getting up here, but then we don't see hardly any boats. No boats. We're dead last. And we get up here, we're slopping around, and we get closer. And you get up here, then you got, after you kind of, this is a little threading to do. It's fun, not here. If you're here, then you had to pick up the boat and, oh, God, it's heavy. Look, put it back in the water. Yeah, that kind of slows you down. You don't want to do that. Get on the, if someone put a boat in a trailer and haul it up, nah, you can't do that. The Chicago Yacht Club Race Committee frowns upon people putting their boat on trailers. Anyway, you thread your way through here because it gets shallow, and it's, if you're a navigator, it's real tough at times for your first few. And if you have a crew that trusts you, it's even worse. Oh, Herman and Rebound, I'll get to you in a little bit. We just got to do this epiphany story. So we're getting up here, and we're thinking, oh, we're last place. This blows. Pun there, right? And then you get up here, and then you see this little lighthouse, and you think, well, okay, we're getting closer. And I could have done this better. Because you're in between. But, okay, now you think, okay, now we're at least near the island. It's doable. But see, the water's shallow. You got to be careful. You got to be careful. Navigators. And that, yeah, it gets funky. But then you get up here and you think, okay, now I've got, I think this is 13 miles. And then you hit a boat. And then there's a boat. It won't be marked. But, see, I don't want to keep doing that. There's a buoy, then, but you have to round. That's the only course on the race that you have to go around. That's a designated turning point. So you can't do one of these little cheating things. Not that Cahoots ever did. No, I'm kidding. I just made that up. But I'm sure someone has. I mean, you know, but sailors are honest people. They're just debauching every way of it. So we made the round, and then it's night. Now we're Tuesday night, and we're coming in, and this is a 17-mile stretch. Because from that little thing, and we'll see how good I am. Well, I'm going to make it 17 no matter what, because I want to be right. But from the bridge, see, I'm going from the bridge and finding out where the marker is. 20, 19, 18, 17. So that marker is right about there. So right about there. Because it's like 17.3 miles to the bridge once you round it. So then it's like, okay, now I've got home run. I've got Mac Bridge on the horizon, and you can see it coming along. And you think, okay, we're done. I don't even care if it's last place. We're fine. Now it's dark. And we're coming up, and all of a sudden the wind picks up. And it's like, well, that usually doesn't happen because it can either be stormy in here or dead calm. It can be anything. But we get a little breeze, and then we see boat lights. We see stern boat lights, and we're like, oh my God, we didn't get dusted after all. And we start, and I don't want to drag this on too much. I don't even know where I am on time. Oh, we're fine. So we start seeing stern lights. And you go, that's a good sign. And you're coming up. And we get closer, we see more and more. And it's like, what? And then we're catching a breeze, and then maybe anyone else. There's a boat named Whatever, and they had a grill on the back, and they were truly whatever. And maybe Whatever caught up to us, and we're like, oh, now we're tying tie with Whatever. That's no good. But we're coming up, and then we see more and more stern lights, and it's like, holy smoke. And now I gotta be careful because I don't want to keep jumping. Let's just find one. Is that great? It's like Google doesn't want to find a happy. This is like a bad distance. But I need to be close for this. Anyway, then I had all the ending stuff. Maybe I'll do that. I should do that. Alright, hold on. I had all these on here and I'm scooting around. It's like, oh, I had the fish over here. Is it over here? Anyway, hold on. Okay. I know I'm going to forget something, but we'll figure it out. And one thing, before I forget, I was trying to clean up a couple of the earlier recordings, and I kept saying Andrea, and her name is Andra. And I can't believe I'm making that mistake, but her name's Andra, not Andrea, Andra. And I can't believe I made that. But all these things, I'm like, that isn't what I thought came out of my mouth. But I talk about student hospital, and I say Stewart Center or something. Student, I don't know. It's like, I can't help my mouth. My brain's been damaged. Anyway, so we get up, it's midnight. It's like I have to pick up. No, I haven't left off with you. And that made sense to two people, probably. So we're coming up and we see all the boats. And it's like, well, we're still, we're not totally out of it. And here's the way the finish line is set up is there's a crew from the yachting organization over here. And then with the lighthouse. And when you cross that imaginary line is when the cannon goes off. And they have a little cannon down here and you cross and you get the gun. And that's the big thing is if you have a cannon during a regular race, that means your first boat of your section to cross over. So it's like, oh, you got the gun and stuff. But here everyone gets the gun. So they're firing this thing off at 3 in the morning. And imagine all the people that live here. It's like, oh, God, the Mac race. Let's get out of here. Because that gun going off 300 plus times, boom, another boat, boom, boom. So anyway, you know what that is. So that's the finish line. So now, as we get closer and closer, again, it's dark, but you can see the lights, real clear air. So we're coming up, and we've got good wind. And we think it's going to be one of those where you carry the new wind, and you're just going to have, and we've got the momentum of this boat turd out here, this 80 million ton keel weight boat flying through that we're just going to come in under enough momentum to, no matter what, we're going to come up. But then you get closer and closer, and it's like, well, those boats are, you see bow lights. Then you've got red, the front of the boat. You've got a bow light, and on the left half is red, and on the right half is green, or maybe the other way around. I'm kidding. It is that way, but I'm just like, I don't know, it's one of those two. It's like, you should know, don't you? I do. I'm just joking. But we start seeing the stern light, which is usually white. That's why, in the distance, you can't see the red and the green very well. But we see the white light, which is the stern light. And you go, oh, that's great. There's still a lot of boats out here. But then we get closer, and all of a sudden you see red lights, Usually it'd be, all red lights on one side and green lights on the other, or, showing the different tacks they'd be on. But since it's dark and everything else, that, you get two boats right next to each other, they're not moving, but you see red light, green light, and it's just this Christmas tree of red and green lights not making any sense. But we've got wind. Man, we're coming in a couple, 2, 3, 4 knots, and that's rocket speed on Caprice. So we're coming in and we're like, this thing is so heavy, we're just going to, blow right past everyone. Because no matter what's going on up here, it doesn't look like there's much wind, but we've got enough to carry us. And we come closer, and then all of a sudden, nothing. Dead air. And so we die out here a lot further out than we think. And we kind of bop and bop and bop and bop, and hours go by, and we're still bopping, but we keep moving a little bit, but we've got all that boat speed, the momentum, that we're still making some move, but these boats are dead in the water. Dead. And you can hear the clanging and people yelling, and you can tell it's Tuesday night now, and everyone's fried. People have run out of food, and they've been on the same stinky boat. Few people have taken showers. It's getting kind of skanky out there, and so nerves are frayed. The biggest thing is now the island rum party. That's over. So that thing isn't even on the horizon anymore to, at least get the Mac party, because 90% of the fleet shows up by the time Tuesday afternoon. The rum party? Nah, if you don't make the rum party, you've got something wrong. You've been trolling, or you got a bucket on your boat trailing that thing. So when we're getting up here, that all these boats are pointing different ways and stuff. So we've got enough momentum that we start going out to the outside. So, let's get away from all those people. Let's just get away from all of them. We still got a little boat speed. And so they're all over here trying to get to this finish line. And we're like, let's just go outside a little bit. And I wasn't navigator. Who was navigator? Marty, or there's this other guy, his friend, who was pretty cool. But Marty was a flake. Sorry, Marty, you're just got to accept what you are. But, I want to say Dan, that's not right. But anyway, so the navigator was, and I was like, yeah, that's good. So we're starting to drift out, and we're kind of here. And now we've got, zone of dead boats. Well, so much for that. Yeah, that should be. So actually, that was right. That was where it looked like everyone was when we were further out. That, all the boats were kind of around this area. And then had this one marked. This is when we were getting closer, that everyone was kind of concentrated in this area. So now the fleet's slowly merging in toward that finish line, and we're coming in, and all of a sudden, you see this coming. Well, you didn't. In the horizon, in the little horizon, is a little light behind here. What's this? Mac Ferry Line. Wonder if they've got freighters that come through. Yeah, they do. So that little light keeps getting bigger and bigger. I don't want to draw this out because you know what's coming. So it gets closer and closer. We're just like, hey, wait a minute. That's a freighter. And it gets to be, if the horizon is at 3 o'clock, how'd that work? 3 o'clock? Say that's 9 o'clock. I'll work that way. So noon is right overhead. Yeah, we'll work that way. So looking back, that the lights may be at 9:05, the hour hand. It's like, a little bit up there, but it gets getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and you know where this is going. And it gets to be where, hey, wait a minute, that's a barge or a freighter coming at, and we're down here. We're about right there. This thing is coming down right, and we're kind of stuck in this right out in the open. And this thing's getting closer and closer, and you hear the horn. And okay. That means, approaching vessel. And we had a guy on board. It was probably Marty. And I'm sure it was, now that I think about it, because there's this whole thing with oh yeah, it was Marty. So we hear the horn, and we go, that was one horn. Marty, Captain Nautilus out here. He's like, well, that's just to let you know that they're out there. Then a little bit, maybe 5-10 minutes later, it's just like, hey, there's something back there. We better start thinking about but there's no wind. And we, by this time, this thing is slowed to almost just maybe a little, you could spit and then see movement in the water forward. And we're going along, maybe 5-8 minutes later, we hear the, oh. And Marty, of course, knows that was 2, and that means, I'm getting closer, and 4 boats forewarned, and, approaching freighter. And then people are starting to scatter a little bit. It's kind of like, oh man, we got to get through here. But this is a barge coming, and now the lights are at 10 o'clock. Obviously I don't want to drag on but it gets closer, and then it's 3 horns. Basically the guy's laying on the horn saying, hey, you knuckleheads, we're coming through. We can't stop. I don't care if you are a CNC 43. We get to a little bit more momentum than whatever you are. And we get there, and then it was at 4 horns that things start, and it's a panic. And this light is at 10:30, encroaching 11. You can hear it cutting through the water, and it's approaching, and then you hear people start yelling. Not distinctly like, hey, you idiots, get out of there, but there's yelling going on, and there's probably 50, 70 boats around here, and we're trying to drift, and well, I don't need to move it, but we're trying to scoot out, run forward and do what you can to get the boat moving. And then we hear the 4 horns. Times 2, because I don't want to keep that sore throat. And they're approaching, and Marty's going, that's inevitable collision. We got to get out of here. And we're running around the boat, and John's screaming, and Helen's screaming, and I'm like, that's it. We're boat chum. We got to get out of here. And I'm thinking, it's over. It is over. Because now it's at 11 o'clock. This area is all screaming and yelling, get out of there. Get out of there. We're pushing the boat. And honest to God, this thing, and then we hear the horns go off, but we think it's inevitable collision. And we're pushing the boat, and we have the boom all the way out on this side, and our stern is sticking out here. And the boat, and the freighter comes by. And honest to God, I could have thrown a tennis ball and hit it off the side and bounce it back in the boat. And that boat comes by and pushes us, it's actually on this side, and pushes us just enough to break away and push us back. And then we see this wall of steel slide right by us. And look up, and there are 4 or 5 crew members, probably 30 feet up in the air, looking over the gunwale down at us, because we're in a spotlight now. And that was what was giving everyone the attraction, was this guy's flashing his bright lights over here. And he's giving us the horn, and now it's 4 horns. Marty's going, inevitable collision, inevitable collision. We're thinking, do we jump in the water? Do we jump out of stay in this thing? It's a battering ram. But John turned into fetal position on the deck, and I'm tapping him on the shoulder. Not that I was, Captain Stoic or anything. And then Stu, what was Stu doing? Because, oh my God, it was so... Oh, we're yelling at him, start the engine. Oh, I forgot about that. We're saying, Stu, start. No, we'll get disqualified. Oh, we're going, Stu, start the engine. No, I can't. Then we find the keys because we hear 4 horns. Stu, start the engine. You know, the old in the movie, fumble with the keys, get it in the ignition, try to get it started. No, and then the 4 horns, and then the thing just glide, the spotlight, and then it just pushes us gently away, and then glides by us. Just pushes a little bow, and we're like, everyone's still there, but every single one of us afterwards said, yeah, we thought that was it. You know, do you jump in the water? But, you know, you get sucked up in the screws and the churn from the propellers and stuff. But we were right there. And the last thing I remember, talking about the epiphany, was, I'm pissed. Oh, you're Christian. You can be upset. I was pissed because I thought that's it. This is 1999. I have surgeries and all this coming up, and things are falling apart, and blah. And I'm pissed. But we got drifted away. So let's just speed this up, because I gotta wrap it up. There's no more drama, just funny stuff. I don't know how that'll turn out, but I had done one take, and that was the first time, and I hope it's recording. But, so we get to the island. But, you know, we ended up finishing, but the drama was this, because everyone is watching this little drama unfold, because, one, we're on the spotlights. I don't know if they shone a light on us, but we were right there. I'm getting all burpy. Oh. We were that show that year, because so we finally finish, and we get here, and it's pitch dark. It is pitch black. It's like, what is going on? And we get in, but this is all lit up because you've got, you know, all the boats in there, and there's probably a full moon, because now that I think about it, this is how anal I am about getting the proper information. I'll go back and get the weather report for that Tuesday night, because I'm pretty sure it was clear, and I'm pretty sure there was near a full moon. Because when we came into the harbor, it was light. It wasn't quite daylight. It was almost it was Wednesday morning, but it wasn't daylight. It could have been, my memory is it was between 2 o'clock was when we noticed the light that we should be paying attention to. And that's why I kind of heard through the drama, because now things are kind of coming back, and I was playing up the drama. But it was probably around 2 when we noticed there's an issue, and probably around 4:15 when we thought that was it. So, bad memory, but sun gets up probably around 5:30. Sun gets up. Yeah. When the earth spins enough and the sun from 93 million miles away is shining. No sarcasm. And so the sunrise, or on the earth, when the sun is coming over that area, is around 5:30. So, but yeah, when we got in the harbor, it was light enough to see, but eventually you notice that there were no lights. There were just no lights. And like, well, what's going on there? But we got ourselves together, and then, of course, Caprice. Everyone knew Stu. And Stu's a legend in his own mind, we'll put it that way. But I love him. He knows that. And Sandy, oh my God. She's a child psychologist. It was on this race when, you know, you're sitting there drifting around and you're yakking about things, and you end up talking about things you usually don't talk about because you got to kill time. Find out Sandy, Stu's girlfriend, is a child psychologist. I started telling her these dreams I had about Miles cutting off his finger and stuff, and she's, oh no, you know what that means? And I'm like, no. And so she told me about those dreams about cutting off fingers, and oh, you can figure it out. But oh my God, that's Sandy. Oh, she's great. And put up with Stu for a long time. My knowledge, they never got married. The boat retired, and he retired and on the boat, and stayed with him. Woof, she's a good woman, Stu. Anyway, I don't know where it's going with that, but so we ended up getting here, and you find out that the power's out. And what happened there was someone got an anchor line caught on the cable and turned out the power on the island. So the island had zero power that year. So there was no party. There was no big hoo-ha. Not only because no one was there, it was because they had no power. The bars didn't have any ice. There's no cold beer. There was nothing. Grocery store, the food was starting to go bad. So when we got here, it was warm beer and whatever, regular hard. I did cognac and rum when I was at the island. Oh, the cognac showers? How can you not? But, as far as a cold beer, no. We're going back to high school days where whatever you've got in the floorboard of your Volkswagen. By the way, in the Volkswagen, there's a cell for the battery underneath the back seat, if it has a back seat. And on the other side is another cavity. A six-pack in old style feels real nice right there underneath the seat. Just for the young kids that shouldn't be doing that, in case you didn't know. Anyway, so we get to the island and it's warm beer. Oh my God. Then it's getting out there. But people found out, what happened? What were you guys doing? We were trying to get around we were shaking the world. We were trying to not get tied up with all you knuckleheads. So we went out into the shipping lane. Oh my God. But I did. I got out of that and I'm out of time. But my epiphany, 1999, I'll get the date, start the next one on that date. But on July 9th, epiphany of a lifetime. Gotta go.